If you're looking for some decent 70s schlock, then I recommend the subject of this week's retro review, The Warriors from 1979. I first came across The Warriors when it was being adapted into a video game back in the early 2000s for the PlayStation 2. At the time, I was coming home from school on a Friday and I decided to stop by the video store to rent something for the weekend, and I didn't know anything about The Warriors. It just seemed interesting, so I decided to check it out, and I really enjoyed the game, and then I found out it was based off a movie, so I had to check that out too, and holy crap, this is a fun movie to watch. The movie revolves around a gang from Coney Island, New York called the Warriors, who are invited to an all-gang meetup up in the Bronx by Cyrus, the leader of the Riffs, the largest gang in the city. At the meeting, Cyrus is trying to persuade all the gangs throughout the city to basically unite under one banner in order to be able to take on the police and pretty much run the city. Then suddenly, Cyrus is shot dead by a guy named Luther, a member of a gang called the Rogues, and they blame the Warriors for the shooting, so the Warriors are left trying to get back home to Coney Island from the Bronx while every gang in the city is coming after them. The rest of the movie is a series of chases, narrow escapes, and outright brawls as the Warriors are literally fighting to try to make it back to their home turf on Coney Island, all while avoiding the police too. One of the things I really like about this movie are the various gang members within the Warriors, because there's 9 people that they have to work with for this movie, and each one of them has their own unique style and personality to them. Take Swan, for instance, who's the leader of the Warriors after the previous leader, Cleon, gets tragically killed at the start of the movie. You have Ajax, who's the group's muscle, who doesn't necessarily see eye to eye with Swan in any given situation. You got Rembrandt, who's the group's artist, and whenever they go to different places, he's marking it with the Warriors tag. Granted, not every character gets as much screen time or character development as the other ones, but too often than not, when you see movies like this, you'll have a few standouts from the group and then everyone else just kind of blends together. But they put in a little bit extra effort when it comes to this movie in order to make sure each one of them is identifiable enough and has enough of a personality so that as an audience member watching, you can distinguish who's who in any given situation. This also applies to the various gangs that we see throughout the movie. And to me, this is one of the best parts about the movie is how each gang has their own unique look and style to them. It's kind of in a comical sort of way because this is definitely not a real life type of gang situation where, yes, in real life, gangs have their own colors and styles and looks to them, but not to the extent that we see in this movie where they almost all have uniforms, even going so far as to have certain themes when it comes to face paint and other stuff like that. And to me, that just makes it a lot more fun watching this type of movie because as they're going to different areas of the city, then they'll be encountering various gang members who are native to that particular area. So you can see the progression throughout the movie where it almost seems like a video game where they start off the first area they go through. It's kind of a low level gang after they come across them and get through them. Then they go to an area where it has an even more difficult gang. And then as they progress throughout the city, trying to make it to their home, they're coming across tougher and tougher gangs until they finally get to their home turf on Coney Island. This kind of hyper reality also applies to the city itself too, because as the movie goes on, the only people that we seem to see out in the streets are either other gang members or cops and pretty much no one else in between. And every place that they go to seems to have a unique look and feel to it where it's very much a character in and of its own right, kind of representing the look and feel of the various gang members that occupy those areas. I also found it kind of funny how in the movie, the city of New York is overwhelmed with gangs and one group is literally fighting to stay alive while they're trying to make it home. Yet the city in the movie feels like it's a safer location than modern day New York. After all, the gangs even pay their toll at the subway. The writing in this movie is, well, serviceable, but if I was being critical, I would say it's kind of bad because there's nothing really complex about this movie. It's literally just watching the group go from point A to point B while fighting their way through a crowd of gang members, and that's pretty much it. There's no major revelations throughout the movie, no twists and turns. Even the motivation to the bad guy, it doesn't really make sense, or there's really no motivation whatsoever. The main conflict in the story about how the Warriors are blamed for the death of Cyrus just kind of resolves itself in an anticlimactic way because that's not the type of movie this is. This is literally just watching a bunch of colorful characters fight against each other in the streets of New York, and that's what we get. However, I will say there are some funny moments throughout this movie. Some of the lines, particularly from Ajax, had me laughing, but it's probably just because of the, let's just say, old-fashioned gamer words that he chooses to call some of his fellow gang members.
What's the matter? You going f***it? Maybe all of you just going f***it.
Or maybe it's not words. Maybe he just likes to use the same insult. I don't know. The acting in this movie is very hokey too, but like the writing, that's kind of what they're going for with this sort of thing. It's not trying to win any Oscars, it's just trying to get the plot going and have fun with it. Luther, the leader of the group called the Rogues, the main antagonist throughout this movie, is particularly fun to watch. He's definitely chewing up the scenery every time he's on screen, and I'm all for it. There's a reason why that moment of him at the end of the movie where he's clanking the bottles together is so iconic for the Warriors. I also love the look on Swan's face in this scene. It's less him being scared of Luther and more just kind of annoyed by him. All in all, I had a lot of fun with this movie. It's one of those that you can just turn off your brain and enjoy. It doesn't spend a whole lot of time set up at the start of the movie. It basically just hits the ground running, and at a brisk 90 minutes, it doesn't stay too long. It's one of those movies that you can bring over some friends and drink some beer and watch this movie and just enjoy laughing at the absurdity of it. If you want to watch a bunch of colorful characters fighting other colorful characters, and this is one that I would definitely recommend because, like I said, it's 70s schlock, and if you like that type of thing, then this is one that I highly recommend.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
And that's why I'm giving The Warriors an 8 out of 10. But let me know what you think about this movie in the comment section below. Have you seen the movie or have you played the video game? It's a Rockstar game, but it's one that I think is pretty underrated if I remember correctly. I haven't played it in quite a while, but I remember really enjoying it when it first came out. But let me know what you think about all this. And also, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest in entertainment news, or if you want to check out some more of my movie reviews. And if you haven't already, could you please click that like button and share the video because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.